Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pickdawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shop Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Saturday, November 22nd, 2025. If you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, the games I love the most, including my college basketball Bank Shop best bet, as well as my college football plays for Saturday, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at Pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alright, here we go. Here are the games for Saturday in college basketball. First up, we've got Penn State and Providence. This one is 4 p.m. Eastern on True TV. It's a neutral site game, and I gotta say, Saturdays we usually do a lot of damage in college hoops throughout the season, a lot of great spots to find, but I don't think this is a great card in college basketball betting-wise. There's some good games to watch, and this is one of them, but I do think that it's going to be a card I'll be treading lightly with a little bit more in college hoops. I think the college football card is superior. But in this matchup, I think Penn State is the much better team here, and at a reasonable price. I like Penn State in this one. I know they're 5-0, and those 5 wins, a little bit misleading when you look at the strength of schedule. They have not played a very tough schedule, ranked 314th in strength of schedule, while Providence has taken on Virginia Tech. They played Colorado, but in those step-up games, they have struggled. They lost in overtime in a neutral site to Virginia Tech. They lost by 9 on the road against Colorado. And for me, I think Penn State is the superior defensive team. This is a Mike Rhoades-led defense, right now ranked 130th in adjusted defensive efficiency. I don't think that's going to be the case for much longer. I think it ends up being in the top 100. This is a team that forces turnovers, good defensive rebounding team, disciplined defense, doesn't take a lot of fouls, and they're forcing tough shots. The shot quality defensively is very strong. The offense is taking care of the basketball. They are having some issues at the free throw line. We heard Rhoades talk about how he wanted to fire the free throw shooting coach, even though that's also him as the head coach, as they struggled against Harvard with their free throws 17 to 25. But I think overall this is still a pretty good Penn State shooting team. They're top 100 in 3-point and 2-point shooting. I think Penn State just overall the much better team here. I'm not worried about the strength of schedule in a matchup like this. Give me Penn State in this one. Next up, we've got Mississippi Valley State taking on Cal State Bakersfield. This one is going to be 4 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on ESPN+. I couldn't tell you the last time I wanted to lay this many points with Cal State Bakersfield, but I think it's the right play in this one. You look at Mississippi Valley, I think the weakest team in Division I by far this season, ranked 365th in KenPom, 365th in adjusted offensive and adjusted defensive efficiency. Miserable on the glass. They are turning the ball over left and right. Their defense not aggressive, and I think that Cal State Bakersfield should be able to score at will. The question is, can they make enough stops here to cover this large spread? And recently the Delta Devils have scored some points. They were competitive against Manhattan in their last game, but Manhattan and Utah Tech, far worse defensive teams compared to Bakersfield, in my opinion. Bakersfield is forcing tough shots. I think fundamentally they're a much more sound team than the previous opponents. And we talk about Mississippi Valley being the worst team in Division I and the 1-5 record. Their only win, by the way, was against the Mississippi University for Women, a subdivision opponent. But all this without playing a very tough schedule. I mean, they played a lot of road games and neutral site games, and that's tough in itself. But we've seen SWAC teams and Mississippi Valley State itself play top 100, top 50 teams consistently on the road at the beginning of non-conference play. That's not the case this year. They're ranked 124th in strength of schedule, so they're struggling this badly, even against a softer non-conference schedule than we're used to seeing from SWAC teams and from the Delta Devils. I don't think it gets any easier, and I think Bakersfield wins this game comfortably. I'm going to lay the points with the Roadrunners in this one. Next up, we've got the consolation game, part of the Boardwalk Battle. This one is between UIC, Illinois Chicago, and Southern Indiana. It's going to be 5 p.m. Eastern. I'm looking at the total in this game. I think we see a lot of points, bad defenses, and fast-paced teams. Illinois Chicago is a pretty quick team offensively, ranked 118th in average possession length, but I think they'll be able to score at will against the Southern Indiana team that, in terms of shot quality defensively, one of the worst in the nation. They gave up a lot of easy buckets to Incarnate Word in that last game against the Cardinals, and I think UIC will be able to take advantage of that all game long. But I also think that Southern Indiana, especially towards the end of that game against Incarnate Word, started to get things going offensively. They do a good job at taking care of the ball. Excellent free throw shooting team. They should be able to keep the scoring going, and they're also a very fast-paced team. So 2 bad defenses. I think there's going to be a lot of easy layups in this one, a lot of free throws as well. Give me the over. Next up, we've got Ball State and Indiana State. This one is 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. I think Ball State's current 272nd ranked adjusted defensive efficiency rating will improve as the season continues. This is a good defensive team. They're forcing tough shots, forcing a lot of turnovers while also not being too aggressive and taking too many fouls. They're rarely giving up free throw attempts to their opponents. And it's a small sample, but I think overall I like this Ball State defense going forward. And the offense has its issues. They're a bad rebounding team, but Indiana State is also one of the worst rebounding teams in the country. So I think that kind of cancels out in a matchup like this. Indiana State's turning the ball over a ton right now, over about 20% of their possessions. That bodes well for this aggressive Ball State defense. And Ball State's also a very good three-point shooting team, top 100 right now in the country. So you've got a good defensive team on the road as a dog, playing with revenge. They lost to Indiana State last year. I think it's a good spot and a good matchup for Ball State, plus the points. I'm going to take the Cardinals. Next up, we've got Southern Miss and North Florida. This one is 8 p.m. Eastern. It's a neutral site game. I think Southern Miss scores almost every trip down the court because if they don't score in their first attempt against a bad North Florida defense, they should be able to score on second chance opportunities against the worst rebounding team in the country. Dead last right now, North Florida is in defensive rebounding percentage against a top 100 offensive rebounding team in Southern Miss. So the Golden Eagles offensively match up really well. The question is, can North Florida hit enough threes in this game to keep this game close enough to cover the spread? I just don't think so. We saw them hit 14 triples in their last game against Wofford, 42%, and they still lost that game by 8 points. Now, they were able to cover the spread, but this spread is not as large as that game against Wofford was because it's a neutral site matchup. And I think that Southern Miss defensively going to be good enough in this game to keep North Florida off the board. You know, basically this is a team that's going to go down the court, take a ton of low percentage three-point shots, and hope that they go in. And if they do at a decent enough rate, they'll be able to compete. But most times against some solid defensive teams and good rebounding teams, they're not going to give up those second chance opportunities. I think it's going to be a rough day for North Florida overall. And I think that's going to be what we see in this one. I think Southern Miss offensively a big day in the 80s, maybe even the 90s. And then North Florida, not enough answers from the perimeter to keep up. Give me Southern Miss in this one. I'm going to lay the points. And that's it. Those are the games for Saturday in college hoops. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pickdawgz.com under the Premium Picks tab. There's also a link in the description. As always, Romanelli, good luck.